Hello and welcome to our presentation. My name is Ashlene Kinnear and I am the Teaching and Learning Coordinator at Cavan Institute. I've also been teaching for many years in the design department, and I'm very fortunate to work with an extremely enthusiastic team of people in promoting our teaching and learning within the Institute.
Hi, I'm Ciara Flynn and I'm delighted to join Ashlene today to tell you a little bit about our journey this year. I have taught music and music technology in Cavan Institute for just over 10 years now, and I'm really passionate about the use of technology in all things teaching and learning. We really hope you enjoy our session today and that you can take something away from it.
The COVID-19 pandemic in March 2020 significantly interrupted life and created undeniable chaos in the disruption of education provision across the globe. Face-to-face teaching in colleges like Cavan Institute was halted immediately, and programme delivery had to be reorganised and assessment processes reimagined for learners. At that time, the commitment and creativity of staff at the Institute was called upon to safeguard the continuity of teaching and learning, and quick solutions had to be found while maintaining as a priority the well-being of students and teachers. The starting point for us at the Institute was a teaching and learning team leader who assisted the management team in putting an emergency remote learning plan in place. This work of transitioning students and staff to working and learning remotely was to become a central feature of our work moving forward. While we had successfully facilitated students to complete their course of studies from March to June 2020, it was evident that there were challenges to be addressed in terms of supporting staff to make the transition to complete online provision. We allocated 2 teachers who had achieved certification in Microsoft Innovative Educator Expert to work on a full-time basis with staff for the year in a training and coaching capacity. Coaching played a major part in supporting the change that took place. Strong relationships were developed based on trust and a recognition of the ability of the 2 coaches to work with staff, to listen to their concerns and assisting them in arriving at solutions. This was key. Provision for the ongoing development of digital skills for staff and students remains a part of planning for the new academic term in September 2021, where plans are being developed to create and build an ethos in the college around digital transformation, to advance learning paths for staff using the crawl, walk and run model, putting in place a programme for students in the skills needed to participate in blended learning, to encourage more digitally experienced staff to achieve formal recognition for their efforts, and we're also considering incentives for staff to engage in these pathways. My experience as principal of the Institute on this journey has been really humbling, as I have witnessed firsthand the commitment, determination and tenacity of the teachers with whom I have the privilege of working with. I'm immensely proud of what they have achieved for their students and for themselves, and I look forward to what is to come on this journey.
As educators, the students are always at the heart of everything that we do. The students that started with us in September were coming to us after an already difficult couple of months. As Anne-Marie outlined in the previous video, we also knew that this academic year was going to be very challenging. The quote that we've shown in this slide from Elena Aguilar outlines what is at the heart of our presentation. It's not possible to transform the experience for students without looking after teachers' social, emotional and learning needs. So what do we mean when we talk about coaching? At the beginning of the year, when anyone asked us what our role was, we would have said that we were providing technical support for teachers to support blended learning. It was only as the months progressed and we really dipped our feet into the water that we realised we were doing an awful lot more than this. Our role was definitely not just about training and fixing problems. We found a really accurate description of what our role was during a talk by Becky Keane at the Microsoft E2 conference this year. She described a coach as a guide, an encourager, a problem solver, a collaborator and a listener. It's an awful lot more than just providing technical support.
In order to scaffold and frame what was happening, we incorporated the crawl, walk and run model. We planned and facilitated an intensive 3-week training programme for all of our teachers in September. Daily sessions were organised with the aim of getting all staff to the crawl stage so they were able to run interactive online classes using both Microsoft Teams and OneNote Class Notebook. Teachers were placed into training groups and even given homework to do with their peers. Once everybody was crawling successfully, we began to the walking stage. The focus now was on digital assessment. We introduced apps like Flipgrid, Kahoot, Stream, Whiteboard and Forms, and we focused on student engagement and interactivity. We also gave teachers tips and guidance on best practice for setting up assignments in teams to ensure that all of the work was easily organised for them in the background on the team's SharePoint site. We wanted to make sure that digital assessment wasn't adding to people's time, so we got everyone up and running with 2 screens for correcting. We already had many runners in the college, but because we decided to make the leap from Moodle to Microsoft Teams as our virtual environment, even our runners needed some guidance. The aim at this level was for staff to be able to seamlessly and confidently integrate technology into their daily teaching practice. To support the model outlined, these structures were offered to our staff. Firstly, we worked on building a supportive online community through a dedicated staff team. We posted latest news, training sessions, and encouraged staff to ask and answer any questions that they had. Secondly, we created video tutorials which were contextualized to our own setting. Staff could avail of these tutorials through the dedicated staff team. We held weekly group training sessions where staff could register to attend these sessions, which suited around their own timetables. We focused on different topics every fortnight, and they were based on topics that staff would need at those particular times in their teaching. For example, setting assignments, correcting work. Student engagement remained on the agenda for the entire year. We also hosted regular drop-in Q&A sessions with our staff, which acted as a great means for them to connect, which was often a very lonely day teaching at home. Finally, staff could arrange to book in for one-to-one support sessions with us.
From piano assessments in Flipgrid to hair dyeing in breakout rooms, we saw a little of everything this year. And on this slide is some of our favourite tools. What we're most proud of is that we managed to fully maintain teaching, even in practical subjects, during the periods of lockdown this year. We also managed to have 100% digital assessment this year. And we're currently working on trying to tally up the figures about how much money we've saved and how many trees we've saved. We were already piloting the use of OneNote class notebook for e-portfolios, and this number greatly increased this year. Class notebook was used for all work experience and personal and professional development modules, and teachers in areas like design, multimedia and makeup also implemented this model very successfully. Let's take a look now at some of our teachers' experiences on the tools that they used this year.
But I found consistently I came back to Flipgrid. I thought it was a great way online for students to record themselves. And again, trying not to do it in a passive way, having scenarios where students had to record a staff demonstration as if they were in the workplace, or a student being able to record, their reflection and evaluating their work experience.
I was able to deliver live cooking classes to my students while being at home. The college provided me with the dual camera system, and coach helped me to set up all of it in my kitchen throughout the teams. One camera was set up beside the cooker and second on the worktop. It allowed me to move around the kitchen and switch between the cameras. All students who joined me online could see clearly what I was doing and could even hear the sound of the food cooking.
I really enjoyed the use of the notebook during my teaching year this year. It had a fantastic ability to share my notes to individual students, and then it was super that I was able to monitor the students' progress throughout the year, so I could see when they were accessing documents, how much they'd added, and then I had the ability to give them feedback, and I give that feedback in note formation or in an audio file, and the students engaged really, really well with it. It was a really positive learning outcome.
And I find the students really liked Kahoot. It was great crack. Not only that, the Kahoot that I had, I could literally search, put in hair color, and I would get a bank of questions.
So whiteboard, I use that for teaching. I teach music and music theory. So it was directly like using a whiteboard. I was able to share it to the class immediately on Teams.
Because what the breakout rooms did was they meant that I could divide the classes. I could go into each room. So I would set a task, divide the class, and then they would work on that project themselves. But I can go into each room and chat and talk.
Okay, so let's talk about why this model worked for us. We did a study in 2018 with our teachers, and it identified time, lack of training, and being unsure of the possibilities as the greatest barriers in using technology. While we were able to address 2 of these with our support, overall we felt that it was really important in our structure that we had already established a relationship with our teachers. They trusted us, and there was no fear over asking what might have been deemed a silly question. There was also a social aspect to our work this year. One of our teachers described the reality of working on Teams all year meant that they were working in isolation, in an office, on their own, all day, every day. So the support structures had so many other benefits outside the development of digital competence. Staff had time to come together, to collaborate, to talk, to chat, to run ideas by each other. So let's hear from some of our teachers who describe the impact that the support structures put in place had on them and their teaching.
The support staff in Cavan Institute were there for us. I always felt that we were supported, even in the very beginning when we were first doing our classes. You know, there was somebody there who was kind of able to come in and help if we got into any trouble, and that was a huge safety net for me, and it gave me a little bit more confidence about how to do what I was doing.
All the time we had the underpinning support team behind us, and it really made what was the scary start to the year into a very successful year. There was one thing, being able to use the technology and being confident, and you know, the help and support we got actually helped that. But actually it ended up transitioning us into using technology not in a passive way but in a proactive way, and being able to be really inventive with how we ran teams, how we had meetings, how we engaged the students. And I suppose for me it increased my means of expression online. It provided me with lots of different ways that I could teach my coursework.
I could go to these 2 teachers and go, what do you think about this? Where is this? What could it do? I'm doing this, I need something. And I would get answers and inventive ideas. And it was just superb. Absolutely and utterly superb. Love trying new things. And I was able to say to the students, I'm going to try this week. This is something I learned last week. This will be good fun. Even getting them to work while I'm working, or getting them all to work in a collaborative space together.
With the support again from the teaching and learning, it was brilliant, especially the one-to-one really enhanced my digital skills, and going forward for the next term I feel more confident.
Hand on heart, that one-to-one was invaluable to me. I could not have had the year I had without that support, and I am super thankful to management for putting it in place.
The students as well, you know, enjoyed the online learning. But this has completely revolutionised my teaching, and I actually hope that online stays.
I've changed with regards to technology. Still not really great, but now, you know, not as afraid of it as I was. So I definitely think that support wise, you know, we got lucky. Okay.
There is no doubt about it. There is no going back from using technology for teaching and assessment. There's so much excitement among our staff about what they've achieved, and they're already talking about what they can do next year and how they can implement what they've done this year into their face-to-face classrooms whenever we get back to normal. One thing that's clear from our experience this year is that we need to transform the structures and incentives around teacher professional development always, not just during a pandemic. Often we squeeze in professional development at the end of a long day or during Croke Park hours with no follow-up or additional support. We need this to change. Let's think again now about our students who are at the centre of everything that we do. Again, we need to make sure that they are always achieving their best. And to do this, it is necessary that we provide teachers with the support they need. Our presentation has shown that this has been achieved through coaching and through the provision of adequate in-house support structures. Teachers' digital skills are becoming ever more important as we aim to prepare our students for life and work in the future. Our teachers have managed to achieve years' worth of digital transformation in just a few months. Imagine what they could achieve if this model were in place always. The Staff of 2030 Future Ready Teaching Report, sponsored by Microsoft, backs our experience up. In this report, they state that contact with coaches and teachers having beliefs in their own ability can improve student achievement. Why not take all of this into account as we move past this period and explore these structures in an Irish context a little more?
Finally, we really hope that you have enjoyed our presentation, and thanks so much to the organisers of VetFest for allowing us to talk about our journey. A huge thanks to our amazing teachers in Cavan Institute. We are so proud of what you have achieved, and thank you for allowing us to share your experiences.